Kristen, my story for you this week is a few stories wrapped in one.
Okay.
I'm going to start this by reading you one of my favorite creepypastas.
Okie dokie.
We've had a few requests from people out there.
Annabelle?
Yeah, to have us read more creepypastas and stuff.
Yeah.
This is a very brief one.
Yep.
I believe it's a classic.
Oh, great.
As I found
Then
it
Who Is
online. Yeah, no, not Then Who Was Phone. As I found it online this time, it was called Subway Stare. Author unknown.
Okay.
I'd like to credit them, but I do not know. A woman was sitting on the subway late one night, and she noticed that the woman sitting across from her was staring intently at her. She pretended not to notice, but each time she glanced at the woman, the staring continued. At one of the stops, a new passenger got on and sat next to her. After a couple of minutes, he quietly told her he thought she should get off at the next stop. Knowing the next stop was a busy one, she agreed. When the next stop came up, she left the train with the man. The man said to her, "Thank God. I didn't mean to scare you, but I had to get you off that train. The woman sitting opposite of you was dead, and the two men on either side were propping her up."
Yep. I remember
Dead
that.
person
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
train, I guess just sitting back.
That is such a good freaky one.
Such a good
That's
weird
definitely one of
one.
the first creepypastas that I read.
Yeah, really.
Like, I
really
think you,
interesting.
I remember you or I finding creepypastas and like reading that to each other and being like, whoa. Yeah.
So the reason that I read that to you is because, Kristen, I'm going to be telling you about Weekend at Bernie's in real life.
Cool.
Real life at Bernie's.
Cool. Weekend at Real Life.
Yeah. So, you know, the Weekend at Bernie's movies. There are two of them.
Oh, I do.
And they're about two doofuses.
You mean starring Jonathan Silverman?
Oh, my God. Why do you know that?
The single guy?
What?
I don't know.
What is that?
He was on a show called The Single Guy.
Oh, my God, Kristen.
I know. I don't know why I know some stuff.
Obviously, those movies should be remembered as starring Terry Kaiser.
Is that Bernie?
That's Bernie.
Yeah.
So these movies...
A gifted physical comedian.
Sure. Both of the movies are about these two idiots whose boss died, and now they are trying to, for a variety of reasons, pretend he is still alive.
Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
I have seen Weekend at Bernie's too.
Okay.
Several times as a young man.
I've only seen like when I would turn on Comedy Central and be like, "Ugh, Weekend at Bernie's is on again."
Kristen,
like I haven't actually seen it.
These movies are so much darker than I thought they were.
Really?
Yeah. Like obviously they're about someone dying and then people manipulating the corpse. So obviously that's inherently messed up. But I read the plot on Wikipedia just to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
It's bleak.
Really? What happens? What's wrong with Bernie?
Bernie is a criminal businessman.
Cool.
His two idiot employees, Larry and Richard, find out that the books at the company are cooked. There's some sort of fraud going on.
Yeah.
They bring this to Bernie, and Bernie is responsible for all this, but he doesn't let them know that. Instead, he commends them for a job well done and invites them to come to the Hamptons with him to celebrate as like a little gift. You found something that's going to help the company.
Yeah.
But he's actually using his mob associates to put out a hit on the two dummies.
Oh, okay. So you're just going to get them in the crosshairs.
Yes, Bernie wants to kill the morons.
Yeah.
However, his mob associates feel like maybe Bernie's a little more trouble than it's worth.
Oh, okay.
So they kill him instead via a lethal overdose of drugs.
Oh.
Isn't that really dark?
Yeah.
Not that
So
there's
is he
like
doing
a
like
nice
coke
light.
or something like that? And
I don't
it's like
know.
too much?
I don't have an answer.
That white horse is galloping a little too hard?
Yeah, he gets trampled by the white horse.
Yeah.
So Larry and Richard find the body, but before they can call the police, people show up for a party. Everybody thinks that Bernie is alive.
Why?
I don't know. He's wearing a hat and glasses. Yeah, he's just like leaning back. So they decide, we're going to keep the facade that he's alive so that we can enjoy our time in the Hamptons. From what I can tell, that is the plot.
Oh my God.
Then there's all this stuff about the mob. The hitman is like, I could have swore I killed him, but he's still alive. How is this possible? And he's like watching as Larry and Richard are dragging a corpse down the road. He's like, he's obviously alive. There's a scene where a woman named Tina goes upstairs to spend some time with Bernie. And the two guys are on the couch. I watched a clip of this. It shows the two guys on the couch like staring up the stairs at the closed door. Tina comes out of the door.
Is this during the party?
No. It's quiet. It's at night. I don't know what's going on.
Like the same night of the party or just some other time?
Kristen, I don't have an answer for you.
Okay,
I did not watch this movie and I refuse to watch it.
Rigor mortis joke?
All I saw from the YouTube video was 3 people. 2 morons on the couch.
Yeah.
And then Tina leaving the bedroom and walking downstairs and just kind of being like, ooh, and having a drink. And they're like, it's not possible. Could she have? No, she couldn't have. And it's definitely like, I just don't understand.
What?
Kristen. Yeah. Anyway.
Ew.
Then
do they, in your research, I'm not going to ask you questions as though you've seen this movie, which is hard for me not to do. In your research, did they reference decomposition at all or anything? Or do they just stay away from
They just stay away from that. I don't think there's any time in Weekend at Bernie's.
Okay.
But that's where Weekend at Bernie's 2 comes in, Kristen. For you see, now they're trying to figure out where Bernie's millions that he sacked away from the company went. Also, while they're trying to do that, Larry and Richard are trying to do that, there's also a voodoo queen named...
Oh, my God.
Named Queen Mobu.
Okay.
She wants to reanimate Bernie's corpse and have him lead them to the buried gold.
Okay.
Something.
So it's like the Legend of Curly's Gold, but bad?
Is that good? City Slickers 2 in memory?
Yes.
It is? All right. So she needs to use a sacrificial chicken, but it gets away. So she has to use a pigeon instead. And it ends up having... So it
makes something go wrong?
Yes. Now Bernie will only move if there's music playing.
Oh, that rings a bell. I can see Bernie dancing.
Larry and Richard something.
Yeah.
They end up shoving Bernie's corpse in a suitcase to take him to the Bahamas or something.
My God.
Yeah. Then they shove him in a fridge.
Oh my God. Does Bernie have any family? Is anybody looking for him?
It's kind of sad that the answer is no, right? Yeah.
Why
Even though he's like a criminal businessman who was going to commit murder.
He's still a human being.
I know. So they end up putting headphones on him and he's dancing across the beach.
Yeah, I can picture that. Yeah.
And then he walks into the water and somebody shoots a harpoon gun at his head and it breaks the headphones.
Oh my God.
And he's holding a treasure chest of money and they can't get it. It's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Then they shove him in a box. I don't know.
Wow.
They get the money.
And
they give the company back the $2 million that Bernie stole. And one of the guys is like, I can't believe you did that. Like, after everything we did, you just gave the money back. And he goes, he didn't steal $2 million, Richard. He stole $3 million. So they essentially they steal $1 million.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends with them having bought a yacht.
And plus defile a corpse.
And hire beautiful women to be the ship mates. I don't understand.
Ew, that sounds right. Did any time elapse between Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2 in the Berniverse?
Unclear.
Okay. Is it like,
know.
A day later? Okay.
It is interesting that you mentioned the Bernieverse, however, because it seems that a very good show is part of it.
What?
In Seinfeld, Kramer tells Elaine to watch Weekend at Bernie's 2 because it has a hilarious premise. It's a jean pick at the video store. And Kramer says that's better than a pick by that art house goon Vincent. Later, Elaine watches it, annoyed and shouting, Bernie's dead, you idiots!
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know if that really makes that Seinfeld part of the Bernieverse, but...
there's some tie in there.
It does to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I really wanted to talk to you about, I
just want to hear more about Weekend at Bernie's, but fine.
I immediately Googled Weekend at Bernie's in real life.
Okay, real quick. Why did Weekend at Bernie's come across your path before you... How did this happen? What was the origin of you deciding to do this? Because I guess I assumed that you somehow were looking for something scary, found this, and you're like, oh, that's like Weekend at Bernie's. Not that you were researching Weekend at Bernie's, and then you're like, I wonder if there's a scary story I could use here.
Well, Kristen, I'll let you in on a little secret.
Yeah.
I was driving to work the other day, and somebody driving behind me, I was watching in the rearview mirror, and they were like tailgating me hardcore. I had to basically slam on the brakes one point, and I assumed the person behind me was going to hit me. They did not.
Yeah.
But I looked in the rearview mirror, and this was a tense moment.
Yeah.
And the driver was like white-knuckled, like, oh my God, I'm so glad I hit the brakes at the right moment.
Yeah.
And the passenger
was
like lolling. Like his face was unresponsive.
Yeah.
So then I started imagining a scenario where they do rear end me.
Yeah.
I go to exchange information with them and say something like, is your passenger okay?
Yeah.
And the driver's like, yeah, he's fine. And then basically peels off and later we find out the passenger
It's a Weekend
was
at
dead.
Bernie's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what got me thinking of it.
Gotcha.
And then I came up with a few stories of Weekend at Bernie's IRL.
Oh, yeah.
In real
okay,
life.
yeah.
So
when you said came up with, I thought you meant like you wrote them, and
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I've been writing some Weekend at Bernie's
That's
fanfic.
what I thought for just a second.
I'm hoping to reboot Weekend at Bernie's, or maybe just do a spiritual sequel that takes place in the same world. We reference the events, but
Right.
yeah, there's a new Bernie. in
Very
town.
tasteful.
Yeah. So, Kristen, I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you this one first.
Okay.
In April 2010, in Liverpool,
It's not long ago. Okay,
every
go ahead.
one of the
Yeah.
stories I'm going to tell you is very recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not changing the names to protect the innocent. For the
Sure.
record,
I mean, I'm
got
sure
these
you can-
I got these from news articles.
Yeah, I'm
so,
sure.
yeah.
Because I already feel like I know something about this. Okay.
Okay. At an airport in Liverpool, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Gitta Durant arranged for a flight crew to help her get her husband on a plane heading to Germany.
Yeah.
She told him that her husband, Kurt Willie Gerant, was disabled.
Yeah.
Needed a hand getting out of his wheelchair.
Disabled indeed.
The couple was traveling.
Ultimate disability, one would say.
The ultimate disability, death. The couple was traveling with their daughter, Anka, and the two women told the crew that Kurt was sleeping, just sleeping in his wheelchair. The airport worker tasked with helping Kurt get on the plane, Andrew Malia, said he knew something was wrong immediately. There's a quote. I immediately felt unsure about the situation, but I did my best to help by carefully lifting the man from his seat.
Oh my God.
To my horror, his face fell sideways against mine. It was ice cold.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Malia notified the police, and they quickly confirmed the man was dead.
Oh my God.
I'm laughing. It's horrible. It's real.
I know.
It's a true story.
I know. This rings a bell. I wonder if I've heard of this story, or I'm thinking that maybe Law and Order or somewhere, like,
Maybe.
or did a rip from the headlines thing. Anyway.
Maybe. Despite further claims from his wife and stepdaughter saying
my
that he was
God.
just sleeping, and it was unclear at that point how long he had been dead. They found out the tickets had been purchased weeks earlier, presumably when the man was still alive.
Right. They didn't want to waste a ticket.
Yeah. And Gita insisted he was alive when they got to the airport and demanded an apology from the police and the airport.
Oh my God.
Okay. Do you want the sad story at all?
Yeah, I guess. Give me the whole story.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it turns out Kurt Willie Gerant had Alzheimer's. He wanted to go home to Germany to die.
Oh.
So in a way, his wife and stepdaughter were trying to fulfill his request to go home.
But he was already dead.
Now, here's the thing that makes me go from like being like, of course it's sad. It's a horrible story that this happens to anyone.
That doesn't make it better to me. They missed the boat.
No, and even
gotta let it
worse,
go.
even worse than that, Gita and Anka then asked if they could get on the flight without him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Somebody pointed out online, this means that they had already fooled a taxi driver. For the record. Later investigations, I followed up. I read like 5 news articles about this. Later investigation revealed that he had been dead for perhaps as long as 36 hours.
Oh my God.
Perhaps as little as 12 hours. Either way, he died of natural causes.
It just doesn't make any difference to me, to tell you the truth.
That's just crazy.
12 is like as bad as 36.
The police determined there was insufficient evidence to press any charges. Gita and Anka were released.
They probably don't know what charge they would press.
What are we supposed to do here?
Yeah. I mean, I
Unfounded.
guess like, some countries are, have things about like, I don't know, defiling a dead body maybe? I don't know, whatever.
Oh, I forgot. I wanted to write quippy headlines for each one of these things. Because I
You have anything in mind?
This next
Off the
story.
top?
This next story I called 2 Dudes in Denver, and then I came up with 2 Girls, 1 Corpse. Because so many people still use 2 Girls, 1 Cup as a joke. You'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't.
I know.
So 2 Dudes in Denver,
Yeah.
Kristen. Now this one's September 2011.
Okay.
All right. Robert Jeffrey Young was having money trouble,
Yeah.
and his buddy, another Jeff, Jeffrey Jarrett,
That's okay.
2 Jeffs, 1 house, offered for Young to stay with him for a while. Now Young came home one day
Yeah.
to find Jeffrey Jarrett dead.
Okay.
And it gave him a great idea.
What the hell?
Young went out to tell his other friend, Mark Rubinson, who worked at a bar.
Okay.
Together they went back to the house and put Jeff in the car.
How did Jeff die? Do we know that?
I do not know.
And like, how old?
He was in his 40s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. They put him in the car and they head out to Teddy T's Bar and Grill.
Okay.
Where they drank on Jeff's tab.
That's disgusting.
While his body is in the car. Then they went to Viva Burrito.
Oh, wait, I'm confused.
Don't step on that. Hold on. Then they went to Viva Burrito.
That sounds good.
Anyway, what was your question?
But like, I thought you were going to say they brought him out with him to the bar so that they could like use his card and stuff with him there. Why even bring him in the car?
They just wanted his money, yeah.
So just leave him at home and take his money. Why would you even bring him out?
You know, they may not have been the best planners.
Perhaps no. Okay.
We may never know for sure.
That is so weird.
Maybe they were really good planners. I don't know.
Well, how does it turn out for them?
Not good.
So then not great planners, probably.
Yeah, true. So then they withdrew.
They're no Anka and Gita.
No, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
They then withdrew $400 from their buddy's card. To use at the strip club Shotgun Willie's.
What schmucks? Who's in the mood to do all this after you find your friend dead?
I don't know, but they stayed at the strip club through closing.
Ew.
Finally, at 4 a.m., they flagged down a cop to get some help.
What? For what?
Their friend was dead, Kristen. The whole time.
What is going on here? Why
almost
are
a
they
day.
flagging down a cop for help?
I don't know. I guess they thought it was cool to do that.
This is so weird. I think they were on the white horse.
Maybe.
This doesn't make any sense. Why would they? It doesn't make sense.
Allegedly. Who knows? These two morons.
The white horse.
They were charged with abusing a corpse, identity theft, and criminal impersonation.
I don't understand that whole story. That is so stupid. These sound like really dumb and weird guys. I don't understand why they took him with them and just left him in the car places.
Is there any other way for them to come across other than dumb and weird?
But like, why even bring him with you? Just take his wallet if you're going to do that.
I don't see why that's all that much better. To be honest,
But I just don't understand why.
It's worse to drag the body into the car, for sure. Like, completely agreed with you. It's insane.
I'm not even talking about worse. I don't understand why. What's the point?
I guess they felt like they could then. Well, first of all, he's out of that house. Maybe one of the two Jeffs still needs to live there.
I guess.
Right?
Yeah, but they're probably going to drive their car still. And there's been a corpse in it for like 12 hours.
Good point, Chris.
Whatever.
Who
I don't
knows?
get it.
Who
Okay.
knows? I do want to point out.
I don't get these guys.
I do want to point out with both of these stories, real quick. The women in Germany. These guys in Denver. The first corpse was Kurt Willie Jarrett.
Okay.
The second one was
yeah.
Jeffrey Jarrett.
That's weird.
And that's strange.
That is very strange. Maybe a J, a double R, and a T is like a weird death sentence.
It's like the Grim Reaper was going alphabetically. Chore list. He was doing his honeydew list and he got to the J's. Bizarre. Anyway, all right, now here's the final story I've got for you. I call this one Checked Out. Now, this was in January 2008.
Okay.
In the Big Apple, Manhattan.
Okay.
Take a bite.
Wow. No, thank you. Not for this kind of story.
Dave Delia and James O'Hare lived lives of crime.
Okay.
Strings of arrests reaching back decades. But maybe they weren't so bad, Chris. You see, they decided to help an old friend, Virgilio Cintrone, cash a check in Hell's Kitchen. Unfortunately, they were turned away when the person at the counter told them Virgilio had to be present himself.
Oh.
So they went back to his apartment to get him. Also, Virgilio's been dead this whole time.
Yikes.
They haphazardly dressed him.
Oh, God. What does that mean exactly?
There was a detail about them trying to put his pants on and it didn't go great.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
It just said like it didn't go well?
No, but I don't want to talk about it.
Wait, you have to.
They said that they tried to put pants on him, but they couldn't get him all the way up. So they put a blanket on his lap to cover the area that wasn't pantsed. Which is what I do all the time. If I don't fit into my clothes anymore, I just wrap a blanket around my midsection.
Why the hell couldn't they get his pants all the way up?
They call it a day, mean the day's over. Wake up in the morning, my clothes don't fit, wrap a blanket around myself, call it a day.
That's a wrap on that.
Back to bed.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Why could they not get his pants up?
Questions I don't want to
That's-
think about an answer to. Rigor mortis.
I would say rigor mortis, maybe. That is so ridiculous.
Oh.
Did they put him in a wheelchair or something with it?
Yes.
Okay.
They attempted to wheel him into the building.
God, people are ghouls.
But unfortunately, Johnny Law got in their way. For you see, Detective Travis Rapp
Good name.
was sitting in a restaurant having lunch
And he sees this scene rolling by.
when he saw what he thought was two guys wheeling a mannequin or a dummy down the road.
Oh my God.
Quote from Detective Rapp, I thought it was a joke, honestly. Detective Rapp approached the two.
For some reason, I picture this guy wearing like a sock on his head, like a hat. Like they just couldn't figure out how to dress him.
Poor man. Detective Rapp approached the fellas, and they simply said, "Oh, we just need to get our friend inside this store to cash a check." He told them to stand back and quickly realized that this man was dead.
Oh my God.
"Oh my God, he's gone?" said one of the two dummies.
They tried to play like that just happened?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Here's the thing. Basically, nobody was fooled. When they went in to cash the check, now that they've got him, they brought the wheelchair to the place of business. And then one of the guys went inside and was like, see, he's out there. Like, look through the window. He's right
And like the
there.
other guy made him wave.
Yes. And they were like, oh, he needs to be in here.
Yeah, why would that work?
And that's when the
the jig
breakdown.
was up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But basically, this was taking place on a busy street in Manhattan.
That's what, when you said this happened in Manhattan, I was like, that is a bustling place.
Yeah, there's a quote from another bystander, Victor Rodriguez, who worked at a nearby restaurant. He saw the whole thing, Chris. I saw this guy sitting in this chair with his head back. He looked very dead. That's the full quote in the news. Although there was
God.
one guy, if only he had been working at that counter, if only he had been the cop. This guy, Garrett, said, quote, he went in regular clothes. I didn't even know he was dead. I thought he was alive. I wonder if these two guys, David D'Elia and James O'Hare, were like, we got one of them.
Man, yes.
We fooled one.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. So there you go. It happens in real life.
William, those were awesome.
Weekend at Bernie's IRL.